Hi, what's up, Ryan? It's Mr. Adams. This is just for you. Okay. So it's fine that you can't be there, and I understand, especially because I don't make you come to class every day, so you probably just said, "Oh, I will work," but I need you to do this with some fidelity and actually try, and don't just blow through the video and then answer the question and then go through, because this is kind of addressing one of the concerns that you had about not learning the code part, and you don't think you'll do very well on the test. So this is kind of the first question that's on the test. So I need you to do part, and then when I say pause, and then do the next part. Like for instance, right now, I want you to read the question, and then I want you to think about what does this mean. Now, the question part, this part, we won't talk about too much, but this part we will. I would also suggest that you do this in a Replit. I learned last time that it doesn't save these, so if you wanted to go back later to look at it, it doesn't work. In fact, actually, for me, like I still kind of have to look at the Replits a little bit. Like I don't remember how all of them work. In fact, I'm going to put that in the top one. Okay, so right now, what I want you to do is pause the video, and I want you to read through and then make sure you understand really what they want us to do. Okay, so I'm going to pause right now. You're going to pause and you're going to read. Okay. Funny part was I was pausing. Well, I'll let him read. Like it doesn't matter because it's a video. Okay, so when you read through this, I think the trials are going to be pretty much more helpful than anything else. Okay, and then we do want to put it through the bottom because it tests it to make sure we did it right. So we will do that. But going through this, we did it in class, and we decided that the order that they do this in is not very helpful. So we're going to do it kind of in a different order than that. Okay. And I personally think, you know, uh, I've taken this class and the professor said a lot of times I just look at the tests that people run to see what they're doing because it's easier. So that's kind of what we do. And I kind of think that's a good point. So when I look at this line right here, what does this tell me? All right. This tells me that I need a class called Step Tracker. Okay. I'm going to make a class called Step Tracker, and this Step Tracker is going to take in a value, and it's going to take in an integer value, right? So if I wanted to start, and maybe I will do this, let's have you open up Replit. If I were going to make a class like this, oh yeah, the one pain, man, Replit's, it's all kind of a pain, I guess, because if we use Replit, then we got to do it a little different. Just go to the bottom. All right, because here we have, so it actually says public class Step Tracker. So I guess we already made one for us, so we don't need to do that. But we do need to make a constructor now, right? And so the constructor is actually, you know what? Pause the video, write a constructor. Okay. Hopefully you can remember what's the constructor look like, and then what's it going to do. You can pause the video too. I don't need to. So anyway. Okay. So the constructor, if you remember, is going to be the name of Step Tracker. And if we look up here in the thing, it actually says you have to name it the same thing. So we have, I'm going to double check to make sure. And, Brian, the thing is if today you can't remember how to do this off of the top of your head, by the end, hopefully we'll be able to. And then also, when doing this, you kind of want to do the easy stuff first, then the big picture second, and then the minute things third. Okay, so like here, this one's an easy one, public, and then I don't need to put void or anything because it's a constructor. So public Step Tracker. Actually, we kind of did something a little bit wrong, but int, and then we're gonna put like value, I guess, and we'll talk about that later. All right. I think there is one step we should look at first, and so maybe I will. So, but that's easy. You should always know to do that. Okay. You will get a point if you do this step. Okay. So this is just a straight up memorizing kind of thing. One, it doesn't return a value, so you don't need to put two. And then two, it needs to be the same. And three, it needs to fit whatever this value is. Okay. So I kind of got ahead of myself a little bit. So let's talk a little bit more about what this app does. Okay, so we have a step tracker. We could, I think we could argue that you always just want to build a constructor first because easy points. Okay, all right. So TR is what I'm going to put everything in. Active days. Okay, active days is how many days I put that. All right. Okay, so I'm going to need a value or a variable for my active days, right? Okay, so TR average steps. All right, so I'm going to need to put the average steps in there. So we will talk, and the big question is, how do I find average? Then here, I'm going to add my daily steps. All right, so this is going to be, and we kind of talked of that. It's not really a mutator, so that's okay. So we have our active steps, we got another active days, another average days, and then we have our daily steps, right? The daily steps is up here, Adam. Okay. All right. So what variables do I need to have for this to work? All right, so you're going to pause right now. I want you to actually think about what variables, and this part's going to be a little awkward because we're going to name it different things. So let's go all the way down the bottom, and you are going to type in your variables right now. You're going to pause. We're going to see, do they, make sure you don't go all the way to the bottom, I guess. Wait. Yeah, I guess go all the way down the bottom. Okay. All the way bottom, what are our variables going to be? And this is awkward because now I got to go all the way up to the top, and it's a little awkward that I need to go. Now I already put it in the wrong spot, so that back, put here. Okay. So we need int. It's a lot easier if you have someone else to do this with. Boom. Okay. Active days, right? So we don't want to name it active days, but we want to probably total days, right? So int total days equals 0. Okay, now already we kind of had the conversation. The classes, should this be static? And since we're only making one instance of the object, it doesn't really need to be static because it doesn't need to travel through the different ones. I think if we make it static, it won't. We wouldn't get any points taken off. So maybe you should just do it to be safe, but we don't need to. Okay. All right. We need int total steps, right? And we want to initialize that as 0 as well. Okay. Make sure it's kind of these little things that you will get taken. Like those are really easy, so make sure you always initialize. All right. We got. Now we want. I think pretty sure we want to do max, right? Now we gotta go up here. Active days, average steps. Feels like I thought there was a max, but there wasn't, was there? Okay. We need. Oh, keep going. Part's kind of bad. We need an int. See, I called it good day last time. Okay. And the good day is what we put the value in. And there was one last other, and I swear it was max, but I don't know now. So we might have to come back to that one. All right. That's a good start. We've kind of gotten our variables. We know, okay, our stub tracker, this defines a good day, right? So we want, we'll go ahead and put that in here. And we know that good day equals value. And hopefully that makes sense. We can go through. So we're taking in the value, we're putting it in there, and we're putting that good day. Okay. And then we will just, they call the mutator in here. So, yeah. All right. Okay. So we have our variables. To be honest, we're missing one of them right now that I can't think off the top of my head. The ironic part is I erased it all off the board moments ago, and I should have been able to do that. But anyway, okay, so you probably have the other one right now. We have active days, average steps. In fact, did I put active days in there? Look at that. I did not put active days. So we want int active days. That's equal to 0. Okay, now we probably shouldn't name it the same. Um, See, so this should have been good days. Maybe we'll call this definition of good day. But we want this lowercase. To be honest, I don't know if they'd count off for the lowercase thing. It's good to have, and it'll make things easier for us. But then, active days. We call that active days. All right. Okay. So those are our 4. Notice how I got those from not reading, but actually looking at the test that they're going to give. Okay. So I kind of gone through. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to have an active days. And then here, I'm going to return something for the active days. Here, average steps, I'm going to have to return something. And then I have to add. Okay. So looking at the test, it's going to make things a little bit easier and that kind of stuff. There are some hints here also in the test that's going to make things easier. Okay. These are called what? If I have the parentheses at the end, what are those called? Good job, Ryan. I knew you said it. Methods. Okay. I thing I hate most about my computer is it makes all those dings and stuff, and I don't know what ding means what. So, anyway, okay, we have active days. This method takes in nothing, and it's going to return something. All right. Ooh, we gotta. Okay. So this gives me a hint. Okay. So when I write this method right here, I'm going to return a value. I'm going to take nothing in. So I'll scroll all the way down to the bottom. Let's go ahead and make that one. All right. So we got public. I'm going to return a value in int, right? And we call that add. Bummer that I got to do this all at the top. I should just copy it again. So, or no, it's not add, it's just active days. Okay. And then squiggle bracket. Okay. So see, this is my return point. This is what I'm taking in. Okay. So I'm going to return something here. What am I going to return? And then I can go all the way back up and I can look, but I'm going to return the number of active days we have, right? So active days. Oops, that's it. Okay. All right. So we looked up here. We saw we can fit this top one. We can fit the active days. Okay. Average steps. Okay. Now, average steps, once again, there's a hint in here. And we're going to do, I actually missed it the first time. So there's one little trick that we have. Okay. But we notice that it returns a 0.0. So what does that mean? Okay. It's going to return a double. So let's make average steps right now. Okay. There's also one trick to this one. So let's talk here. Oh man, this is driving me crazy. Average steps. Okay, now when we do this, like when you take the test, I think the thing you should be focusing on is what kind of um, trying to get like the easy points first. So up top it says this: if these match to like the test things, you're halfway there. Okay. Now average steps is going to be the total number of steps. Right. So that's what we called it. Tot steps. So we're going to return. Make sure I do this right. Tot steps divided by tot days. Right. Okay. Now, if you do this, that is fine and you will get most of the points, but it's gonna probably crash. And on the test, you have to write everything without testing it, and so that's kind of a pain. But just have the confidence to know, like, when we go through this right now, and you're like, oh, I didn't get every single little bit of this the first time without any help. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. Okay. The problem is that on our very first day, how many days have we had? Or when I run this the first time, I have 0 days, right? Okay. So if I have 0 days, can I return? Um, I end up dividing by 0. Okay. So we need to, uh, if total days equals 0, squiggle bracket, and I think technically you don't need squiggle bracket, but I never trust that. Those days equals 0, return 0. We don't really have to put 0.0 there. Okay. Now, the next thing, there's one last tricky part to this, is I have an integer divided by an integer, which is no good. So I need to cast a double, right? And then this, I missed this the first time doing it. And if you miss it on the test, like it's -1, but it's not. It's not going to kill you. So you want to try and cover all those bases, but you like probably won't. Okay. All right. So now we return the double. So we have the double. In fact, I'm not even 100% sure if that's how you cast it. So I'm going to have to look here in a second, but I think it is. All right. So we've called this double steps now. And we've looked up here at the top. Okay. So we've made our active days. We've returned something. Got this. So now we have an add daily steps. All right. So the add daily steps takes in a value, right? And it returns no value, right? So let's see if I can remember add daily steps all on my own here. All right. We have public void add daily steps. Add daily steps. Public void and daily steps. And now you have int, and then we could use value again, but let's call it base steps. Doesn't really matter. Okay. I'm a little nervous about using the whole thing she just learned about this keyword, but that's okay. Okay. So now I kind of blew through void. Hopefully you remember we returned nothing. That's where the return is. Okay. All right. So now we're adding daily steps. Okay. So when we add daily steps, we have total steps, right? Well, first of all, daily steps, we're adding to our total number of days, right? So total days plus, all right? And then we're adding to our number of daily steps. So we have total steps equals day steps plus total steps. Okay? All right. So we have these two. You see how we've kind of built that. Okay, so add daily steps, tell us how many active days are, average steps, daily steps. Okay, so I think we've covered all of these. Okay, and then we come down here. It's a little tricky. Let's go ahead and double check that we used all of them. Total number of days we added. Total number of steps we add here. When we've created our thing, we take in this value, okay, and that's the good day. Okay, now the problem is that our active days, we didn't really do active days, right? So we have a good day, but we've never checked that. We've never checked what a good day is, okay? And so let's look up top here, okay? Active days. So that is our active days. We want to return the active day, which I don't think we did actually, did we? Okay, because when we return this, we returned. Okay, we do have active days right here, but we've never actually established what an active day is, right? So here, when I add my daily steps, we want to say if um, day steps uh, greater than or equal to good day, squiggle bracket, active day, or what do I call it? Yeah, active days. Yes. All right. Okay, and we don't need an else on there because it's only if that happens. All right, now we're gonna keep our fingers crossed here because I did do this yesterday. But. All right. So now go through, double check. Okay. You see how we want to see. So we should get a 0 here. We should get a double here. Fingers crossed. So we added, and then we got their active days. We got the average, and that kind of stuff. Okay. So we have total days and we have total active days here. Let's double check that we got both of those. Goes here. Okay. Total days, and we added total days. All right. Fingers crossed. Oh, we got an error. Okay. Good day equals value. Okay. I call the definition a good day. You know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna change that to good day. Okay. So there we go. Take a screenshot of that. If you have questions, ask. Notice, there's a lot of little things that we just need to make sure, and we probably need to next time make sure that our variables match up. This is the first time we're going to do this. If you let me know, like if Tuesdays, if you always, because you could come to Tuesday too, and maybe I should start doing that. But we're going to do kind of in-person stuff this a little bit more because I think talking through the thought process is easier. Like to be honest, it's the thought process that matters, not the actual answer. So yeah, because you saw, like, seriously, what did we do? We added about 6 things, and that was it. All right. When you do this, like, don't worry about, well, the beginning part. Like, it seems very hard, so stick with the little things that you can get first. Okay. All right. So from here on out, I'll give you the option. If Tuesdays, like you don't work Tuesdays, but you do work Thursdays, you can do that. You can start popping in this video. Like if this video works good for you, we can do that as well. So yeah. All righty.